obviously Brew Mondays, we're here to support the smaller charities. I think it's a bit difficult at the moment in terms of the January being everyone's still catching up on things. I'm mid-month in and I'm still catching up on emails. So I think January is always a difficult time, not just because you get the big break of Christmas, and obviously the financial crisis, but it's just kind of getting yourself back into it all. So getting yourself back into work, getting into a routine, and that's actually harder because you can so easily switch off during the Christmas break. It's actually harder to get back into it. No matter how much you love what you do, it's quite difficult. So this is the reason why we're doing Brew Monday. Brew Monday is to support the small charities, and anyone else involved in this community to just kind of beat those blues in a sense. So last week we touched on being positive mindset and how to start your day with positive well-being in a sense. So if anyone on Facebook Live has anything they want to talk about, otherwise I do have a little something that I can share. Kiara, is anyone posted anything?
No, we don't have any questions at the moment.
Okay, that's fine, no problem. So what I'll do for now then, what I actually wanted to share today, and I'm hoping that helps small charities. So as you know, everyone knows Samaritans and what they're here for, and the incredible support that they do for not just for charities, but everyone and anyone. And I came across something that they have shared that I thought is worth also supporting Samaritans, but also sharing it with the charities and not just the Givey Community, but anyone really. So they had these 4 tips on how to support someone to open up when there's something wrong. And this does relate to everyone, but I wanted to give it a spin in terms of charities. So small charities, you know, it's not easy to run a charity. Some people have very small teams, some people have lots of volunteers to manage. And I think I've heard a lot recently where there's many charities that are concerned whether they'll be able to carry on as a charity at the moment with how difficult things are. So with the financial crisis and bills, I mean, you have this Blue Monday, which was the 16th of January, which is known as the most depressing day of the year. Whether it's a myth or it's a fact, it's very debatable on that, but it's still worth acknowledging whether it is a myth or not, just because they say that you have the holidays over, you get a lot of bills, it's cold, it's winter. I mean, we had snow. I don't know if anyone had snow, but I had snow here, and it was freezing and it was icy, and to be honest, I didn't enjoy that because I was slipping all over the place on the school run, so it's not ideal, but it does kind of bring you down. Even if you don't have a major problem going on, it does just make you want to just kind of curl up and just stay at home and not deal with any of it. And it makes sense why there is this Brew Monday in January and why there's a Blue Monday on the 16th. So in terms of charities, there is a lot going on. You know, small charities tend to not really known to get as much support as a larger charity. So there is that. It's from what we've found, there are a few causes that actually get neglected. Not neglected is not the right word. Needed more support. So obviously we have our food banks. From what we found at Givey, we found that animal causes as well need a lot more support, because unfortunately there are people that get pets for Christmas and then they end up getting neglected, which is really, really sad. Children as well is quite an important cause in January. I think with the financial crisis and, children getting fed or not getting the support that they need, and mental health especially, that is a really big cause. And these causes are, very needed throughout the whole year. But we do find that in January, it tends to be a bit more than maybe what the average would be. And so that's why we've created this Brew Monday at Givey Community, because Givey is all about kindfulness. And that's a play on words from kindness and mindfulness. And it's something that we've made up, but it's very much what our values are when it comes to supporting small charities. So saying that, I felt like we really aligned to what Samaritans shared recently, which is they called it little tips for helping someone open up when something's up. So I'm just going to share my screen. So I will share this on our event page as well, so you can read up on it. But I think it's really useful for a charity. Like I said, things can be difficult, and because it's run by a small team, sometimes volunteers, sometimes you can feel like you're on your own. So the burden can fall on one person within a charity sometimes, especially when that one person navigates all different areas of the charity. But you also, I feel when you're directly supporting a cause, sometimes you can emotionally feel the cause and, understand what those people are going through. But it kind of, it may be a personal opinion, but I think you think about it a lot more when you're directly seeing what's happening. But also people can be going through a lot of stuff, but are so busy into their work and helping those in need that they can sometimes forget about themselves. And I think it's really important within a small charity to support your colleagues. So these tips are really great. So it says, and Samaritans are really great because they do mention that you don't have to be an expert in supporting someone or helping someone open up. And I truly believe that. I mean, even here at Givey, we'll always make sure that everyone's okay. And I think you don't need, and it's great that Samaritans highlight that. And they just share these 4 simple tips on how to help someone open up. So the first one obviously here is how to spot when something might be up. And I think these are really great signs to see when you're working with someone. So not wanting to do things they usually enjoy, finding everyday things overwhelming. And I think you can really see this in someone's face, when someone's really not feeling up to something, you can see it in them. Sometimes they may be completely opposite to how they normally are. They can go quite quiet or kind of seem a bit irritated, like, they just, everything's kind of annoying them in a way. And also emotion as well. So these are quite, maybe, quite clear signs to know, but if you even just seen a little bit of that something in someone, Samaritans do say it's always just nice to just show that you care. If they don't want to talk about it, just showing that you're there and say, I'm here. If everything's okay, then fine, but I'm here. And just that little thing. And I think that's why it's great that they've called it little tips, because even just a little thing like that can really support someone, especially in what is known to be a difficult time of the year, sorry. So the second was how to open up a conversation. I actually think this is going to be quite difficult when you're not, maybe you're not good with the words, or knowing how to, if someone's gone through something traumatic, it can be difficult to know what to say. For example, if someone's lost a loved one, it's kind of like, what do you say? There's no nice way, or there's no right thing to really say. And you don't want to come across in the wrong way either. So it's like, what do you do? So this is really great. Choose a good time and somewhere without distractions. Use open questions that need more than a yes or no answer. And I think that is a really, really important. because if someone doesn't want to talk, they will just say yes or no. But if someone really needs to open up and just let it all out, then knowing those kind of open questions, how are things? I've noticed you don't seem quite yourself. Listen well. How is that making you feel? Avoid giving your view of what's wrong or what they should do. So I think what's very much, to me, what's kind of highlighted here is about listening, being a good listener. Every so often, you ask your open questions, but I would say majority of the time it's for you to be there and just listen to what they're saying. Don't talk over them. Don't interrupt them. Let them finish. And just show that you're listening, like eye contact, for example. So this is a really great tip for number 2. And then 3 is how to be a good listener. So kind of stems on from number 2. Make eye contact, put away your phone, give your full attention to that person. I think that's really important. Pauses are fine. Try not to jump into full of silence. Say back what you think it is they are wanting you to hear. Resist putting your own interpretation on it, and don't give up. Sometimes it can take a few tries, and I think that's very much true, especially someone who's not comfortable with opening up. Keep checking in on them, the day after that, the week after it, the month after it, just keep going, really. And then the 4th one is how to help someone get more help. So obviously, you have Samaritans, which are a great organization to call. Your GP, could be a loved one. And obviously, you can, if it helps, it says at the end, if it helps, you can talk to me at any time. So I think this is a really great poster from Samaritans. And I just wanted to share that today for Brew Monday, because it's natural to have a colleague that is not in the mood or something's wrong. And it's also acceptable for them not wanting to share. And this is not saying that they have to share what's wrong with them. It's just little things, which is what me and Gina were just saying about before, is that it's little things that makes a big difference. So yeah, I will share this on the event group. And hopefully, I think within a small charity organization, with the pressure at the moment of keeping your charity running, the pressure of, raising enough funds for your cause, keeping your volunteers engaged, that's difficult. There's lots of things, and it could just be something personal that your colleague is going through. And yeah, I think it starts within your team, caring about showing that you care. In a charity, the causes are the most important, but you got to remember that it's your colleagues that you got to look after as well, and yourself especially. And if you can do that, then there's no doubt that you can support those that are in need. So yeah, I will share this on the event group. Has anyone got any questions or anything about Givey or anything? No, we all good? Okay, well, we got quite a quiet one today, but that's not a problem. I do have one last thing that I wanted to share, if everyone's okay for me to carry on, since we have got quite a quiet one today. It's still worth doing. I just wanted to share that with everyone, that I think it's actually, I'm quite happy to share that, with Givey, we're quite new to all of this, virtual events. And our aim is to have, a big gathering. We've always ranged from like 1 till, I think the most we've had is 10 or 13 people attend. And we've noticed actually in January it's gone very, very quiet, considering the big increase we had at the end of the year. it's gone very, very quiet, but I still want to I just wanted to make a point that what I was saying to Gina about, we shouldn't be hard on ourselves because it does affect your work. And to know that, things start off slowly, you just got to pace yourself. At Givey, we take things very slow. And I think that's the best way at the moment for us because we tend to execute our goal a lot better. We're not putting the pressure on ourselves. So I'm still happy that for us to carry on. I'll carry on. We may not make it till 12, but I do want to carry on because I think people that are on Facebook Live and Kiara and Gina here on Zoom, it's still worth sharing and doing this because it's about supporting, even if it's just a one-on-one session. It's still worth carrying on with whatever you have planned, really. So another thing I just wanted to share was another thing from Samaritans, and I really liked it because it was a bit of like we try and play on words a little bit at Givey. Samaritans have something called shush, which is SHUSH, and it's called shush active listening tips. I find it quite hard to say that word. And what I'll send this link across, but what they are talking about here is what to do if you think someone is struggling. So this is not about, it's a little bit similar to what I was mentioning before, but it's not so much just about talking to someone. Someone could be really struggling with something, unfortunately, there's like suicide is quite high at the moment, mental health, people not looking after themselves, people neglecting themselves or hurting themselves. It's not really a nice time. And I think within a small charity, this is also relevant, especially when you're working with volunteers that are out there, supporting those in need. This actively there with the people that are in need. That can also have an impact on your volunteers and your colleagues. So this, I'm going to share my screen again. I thought this was really great. So it's called Shush Active Listening Tips. So again, not just listening and getting someone to open up. It could also be with helping someone overcome something or supporting any challenges that they may come across. So it's shush, so S for show you care, H, have your patience, use open questions, say it back, have courage. So it is similar to what I was saying before, but it goes into a bit more focus on, a particular scenario or situation that someone may be going through. So focus on the other person, make eye contact, put your phone away, which is what we mentioned before. But I really like this bit here, aim to learn at least one new thing about the person who is talking to you. And I think that's really important within a team. We have a lot of remote working, a lot of people working from home, or maybe they're just out on their own doing work for their charity. And then you're just on Zoom calls all the time, which is what it's like at Givey. We all work remotely. It's rare for us all to meet in person. And you can feel a bit isolated, like you're working on your own. And I think it's really important. Something that we've started doing at Givey is we've started doing Givey coffee meetings just for the Givey team. And our first one is actually end of the month. And it's come about because of Blue Monday and Brew Monday, because not only is this part of our values at Givey, it's also what we think is important, that we need to get to know our colleagues. And unfortunately, with remote working, it's not so easy because you're not next to them in the office or sharing a desk with them, so you can have that regular banter or just a chit chat, So I think this little sentence at the end, aim to learn at least one new thing about the person who's talking to you, and that may come from supporting them with their challenges. But I think it's also important in a charity that you have these little team sessions, like these little coffee meetups, and you have like icebreaker games, or you just have a general chat about anything other than work. There's lots of games online that we do at Givey that helps us get to know each other. Very quick games as well. You don't need to spend lots of time. You can have these, sometimes some of these games last only like 10 minutes, but it's really great. I mean, we've been doing it just recently at Givey, and I feel like we've all gotten to know each other a lot more. So yeah, show you care. And that is a great way. I think doing that in your team and your charity is a great way to show that you care about the people that you're working with. And then have patience. We mentioned this before, that keep checking in on people. I'm trying to spin it onto a charity scenario. It's again about good listening, letting them speak, letting them open up, not criticizing. When you're working, when it's your job, you tend to be, you're passionate about it, but you want to be perfect about everything you do. I mean, going back to Gina, me and Gina were talking about she was saying she's a perfectionist. I was like, it's a great thing to actually have. And I think that involves about having that patience. Me personally, I'm a bit like you, Gina. Like, I want to have things organized correctly. I want to have it planned. I want to achieve what I want to achieve at my time. But sometimes that can't always happen. So it is about having that patience, and having that patience for your colleague as well. Everyone works at different paces, has different skills and strengths. So, if you see that they're struggling, it's about just being patient. Wait, let them work at their own pace, let them organize things their own way. And then you'll see, when maybe you might need to just, sit next to them and support them within that. Or you may just see that they just thrive that way, So I think that's really important about having patience. Use open questions, which we said before about no, yes and no answered, open questions where they have to talk a bit more. And I think this is really great. So one of the things that I wanted to give an example of is at Givey, we do coffee sinks, which is basically if we find that someone is struggling with something at work at Givey, I organize these coffee sinks with them, which is basically like one-on-one sessions, and it's over Zoom or it could be over the phone, whatever they prefer. Cameras can be on and off. It's very flexible and open. Is how they need to be comfortable. If you're in an office or in a charity shop or whatever you have, you may sit in the room with them. But these coffee sinks are really great because what we do is we organize it. So if I know someone, one of my colleagues or someone from my team is going through something difficult, whether that's to do with work or not with work, if they need the support at work, then I make sure that I organize half-an-hour meetings with them, either every day or every other day. And then as things develop and if I see things improving, then we cut back on it. So maybe we might do it twice a week, or we may do it once a week. And we call them coffee sinks because it's just half an hour. You focus exactly on what you want to talk about, and you'll find your own ways. We use a tool called Asana, and that helps us organize. Things can get very overwhelming, and you have all these projects and all these tasks going on, and it's kind of just like, it just, you're lost for words. You're kind of like, what do I do? Where do I start? So these coffee sinks are really great because we can even jump onto our management tool, which is Asana, and we can do that together. So in this half-an-hour session, I may go on with my colleague and go on to Asana and organize, his or her tasks together and support. It's all about that support. They need to just feel like they're supported, they're cared about, and we'll get to where they want to get to. And I think having these half-an-hour little check-ins are really great because it's you have your regular team meetings, but when you have these coffee sinks, it is different. It's your session. It's not shared with anyone. The focus is totally on that person for half an hour. And yeah, it's really great. So I think these open questions are really important within that. And if you find any challenges within the charity with your colleague, then coffee syncs are really great. I would recommend them, and you can organize it how you want to, but it's really great because it gives the flexibility of the other person. It's kind of reassuring for you, for your charity as well, knowing that it's not going to cause any hurdles for your charity because you're doing that extra support for them. So yeah, I think that's really great way in terms of that little bit there. And then say it back. So again, this does come into the coffee syncs. So when I have my coffee sync, so what they say to me, I do actually repeat. And then at the end of the session, I even go through everything. So once we've gone through it all, I make sure I save 5 minutes to check everything, make sure that I'm clear on what they're saying and what their needs are, and understand that. And for them to also understand what our organization needs are as well, which I think is actually really important. So as a charity, you need to look after your charity as well as your colleagues. So, checking in on that and just going through your little kind of summarizing your coffee sync, I think is really important. So if someone in your charity is going through something, just make sure you understand what they're saying. Very little or small, it's not, I don't believe it can come across rude. You just want to be sure that you understand what they're saying. And it's kind of like reassuring them, if you're getting them to repeat something which maybe they don't like, it's just about saying, thank you, I just want to make sure I understand. I'm clear on it, I don't want to misinterpret something. So I think that's really important. And then the last one in the words shush is have courage. Don't be put off by negative response, and most importantly, don't feel you have to fill a silence. This is something that I'm guilty of. I don't like awkward silences. And I think this is something that can easily happen when you have that awkward silence, you don't know what to say, and you end up just talking something that is just not even relevant. But what I learned from a friend is sometimes it's good to add a little bit of sense of humor into that. And I think if you can try and make someone smile when they're going through something, it's a big achievement, because it just, that few little seconds of them just being distracted about something, and it just it's a little thing, but it really does make it happen. I mean, I can recall I've had 2 situations where I've had someone with me who's been really upset, and I've either made a little joke and they've laughed, or I've said something and they've just smiled, and it felt really great for me. But to see them give that little smile, it's just like, it's like a little light in there, a little challenge. So I think it's really great to always remember to always be positive, and not in a positive way that you're being a bit, I don't know what the word is, a bit, just I'm not really understanding. You don't want to be over the top positive, because it's kind of a bit too much, but obviously you don't want to, it's about going back to all these other 4 points, about listening. If they want to just sit there next to you and maybe give you a hug, or just sit there quietly, that's great too. It doesn't always have to be constant talking and talking. And sometimes that that's really nice. I think, someone just wants to have some company, and I think that's really nice. So yeah, it's a really great point to finish off on, have courage. And at the end it goes, you'll be surprised at how willing people are to listen, how sometimes it is exactly what somebody needs to be able to share what is going on in their mind. So yeah, and then obviously, you have Samaritans, which is a really great organization, to talk to someone, or even just having someone listen. You can, sometimes people will just say, I just want to get it all out, and I don't want you to say anything. And that's what you need. And sometimes you just need a big cry. And then maybe afterwards you'll be like, well, I don't really need to cry about that, but it helps. I think everyone needs a good cry. So yeah, really, really great tips here. And I think Samaritans have got loads of other ones as well. So I will share this link as well in the event group. But that's about it. I just wanted to share those two things for our Brew Monday event. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
We all good? Okay. Well, we have got one next Monday, same time. I'll have some more things that I can share as well. But anyone that wants to join, if you join today, you can join again next week as well. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I hope that's helped. And again, if anyone has any questions that maybe they didn't want to share here today, they can email on support@givey.com, and we've got me and my other colleagues that can help with any charity questions that you may have. And yeah, thank you, and we'll see you next week.